In the summer of 1971, inside the basement of Stanford University, a social experiment was about to take place, one that would blur the lines between reality and nightmare. Dr. Philip Zimbardo and his team wanted to study human behavior under the weight of power and authority. To do this, they recruited 24 healthy, ordinary college students. None of them knew just how far things would spiral. The basement of the psychology building was transformed into a mock prison. Heavy doors, barred cells, and a windowless corridor. Randomly, half the students were chosen to act as guards, the others as prisoners. The prisoners were stripped of their names, given only numbers. Their clothes were replaced with ill-fitting smocks. The guards were handed batons, uniforms, and mirrored sunglasses that hid their eyes, erasing any trace of humanity. At first, it was just an experiment. But almost instantly, something darker began to grow in that dimly lit basement. The guards, who had been laughing nervously at the start, began to walk differently, straighter, colder. They barked orders with a sharpness that didn't sound like role play. The prisoners, once joking about their numbers, soon began to tremble at the sound of heavy boots echoing down the hallway. By the second day, rebellion broke out. The prisoners pushed back against their captors, thinking it was harmless resistance. But the guards answered with cruelty that felt far too real. They stripped prisoners of their mattresses, forced them to stand in chains for hours, and made them repeat humiliating drills until their voices cracked. The laughter of the guards filled the basement, but there was no humor in it. It was hollow, cold, and strangely unrecognizable. What disturbed Zimbardo most wasn't just the guards' transformation, it was how quickly the prisoners broke down. They began to lose their sense of self, answering only to their assigned numbers. Some cried uncontrollably. Others sat silently, staring blankly at the walls as though the world outside no longer existed. One prisoner screamed until his voice gave out, begging to leave, but when offered release, he refused. He no longer remembered who he was outside those walls. 6 days in, the line between experiment and reality was gone. Guards patrolled the halls as if they had always been in power, while prisoners cowered like shadows. The basement had turned into something inhuman, an artificial nightmare where ordinary people had forgotten themselves completely. Finally, outside intervention forced Zimbardo to shut it down. The experiment had been meant to last 2 weeks. It ended after less than one. Yet the haunting truth lingered. In only 6 days, normal young men had been consumed by roles that twisted them into strangers. The Stanford prison experiment remains one of the most chilling reminders of how fragile the human mind can be, and how quickly darkness can rise when ordinary people are given unchecked power. To this day, many who walked into that basement never walked out the same.